Sometimes my editor will find like a really, really like funny blooper and he'll keep it in. I'm like, you bastard.
Nice. I think people like bloopers because it just makes it feel like more real, more raw. But speaking of raw,
Nice
hey,
transition.
yeah, that was an accident.
Hell of a
We got
transition.
Monday Night Raw to get into, everybody. April 14th, it is the go home show for Raw into WrestleMania 41. That's it. WrestleMania week is here. We're on the ride. Santi, man. First of all, like, do you feel like, are you fully immersed into the season of WrestleMania right now? Like, are you feeling it?
No. And I've actually, in my mind, I've kind of like toyed with the reason as to why this is too deep into April. Don't you feel that way? Like Mania should have already happened. And because this Mania is so much further away than it typically is, it just sort of feels like many of these episodes, they're just sort of like artificially stretching some things out and just leaving things last minute unnecessarily. Like, for example, I look at like the build of Jay and Gunther. They're just like the first 4 weeks, nah, who cares? We have so much time to build this. And I think that's part of the reason as to why some of the builds for these matches just haven't entirely landed with me.
It's so weird because I think for some stories, like you mentioned, Jay and Gunther, we had too much time. And with other stories, for example, John Cena and Cody Rhodes. I saw that he was announced for SmackDown, but even before then, I'd kind of forgotten he was announced for SmackDown this week, and I was thinking to myself, "Dang, I feel like I need one more John Cena Cody Rhodes segment before we get to WrestleMania." And so I am glad we're having that come up, but there are some stories where it feels like we had too much time, and others like we didn't have enough,
Facts.
and
No,
that just
I
happens to
completely
be it.
agree. And it's just so crazy to me that with the extra like 3 episodes of Raw and SmackDown that we've been afforded because of the extra long road to WrestleMania, they still managed to like hand in your essay a minute before it's due with a couple of these feuds, like the women's tag team championship feud, as well as the War Raiders and New Day. Like they literally had months to even just start, and they just decided to start now.
When you really think about it, because you mentioned that, that's a really good point. And I know we're going to get more into it in just a minute, but even thinking about some of the people that they didn't have big plans for, and I couldn't help but to think about Liv Morgan. Like, Liv Morgan's in this tag team match, right? Bailey's in this tag team match. I feel like Liv Morgan and Bailey are people that you would have thought, if you, given how you saw their 2024 calendar year go, especially Liv Morgan, I would have assumed maybe bigger plans. And a lot of people in my chat were mentioning Chelsea Green and how, they're still surprised that Chelsea Green doesn't have a match. It does feel kind of weird. Other people are mentioning Sami Zayn, like, hey, what's going on with Sami? Of course, we still don't know what's going on with Randy Orton in terms of who his opponent for WrestleMania is going to be. But are you surprised that there are a couple of people that you're just thinking to yourself, hey, don't you think something bigger surrounding them would have been taking place at WrestleMania?
Yeah, I mean, like there is several people. I feel like the women's mid card is kind of like at the very top of that conversation. There are some others as well. Like for me, the one that I've been waving the banner for is the SmackDown tag team division. Like if they're willing to, for some reason, give us this undercooked chicken of a feud that is the New Day versus the War Raiders, why not have on WrestleMania the division that you've actually been spending months building? It makes no sense to me. They can be kind of backwards at times.
Well, you know what happens if you get undercooked chicken? We're just going to get sick and die. So hopefully that doesn't happen with this tag team match, but we'll see what they end up doing. But let's go ahead and get it right into Raw. I want to kick things off with the biggest thing that happened on the show. And I'm going to be real with you. This wasn't the hottest show. I went into it being like, all right, we're ready. It's WrestleMania week. I'm so stoked. I was really, really feeling the emotions. But as the show went on, there were a couple of points at which I kind of just lost a lot of energy. Like I had to really work to keep the energy up and going. And really, I was kind of just waiting for the ending of the show, which was CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins. And what we ended up getting was Seth Rollins cutting a pretty deep promo in which he was trying to convince Roman Reigns that Paul Heyman betrayed him. that Paul Heyman doesn't have the same kind of feelings that, Roman Reigns might have towards Paul. He might have them instead for CM Punk. And we saw this last week too, when he went on that whole long promo to Paul Heyman. It seems like Seth Rollins is really trying to manipulate everybody and really trying to get everybody to sort of turn on everyone. And it seemed like it was working for a second until Roman Reigns instead, punches Seth Rollins, takes him out. But then we kind of felt it. And then it did happen. He goes and he kind of just like shoves Paul Heyman. Now, it wasn't so nasty. I think he could have even shoved him harder, but still shoved Paul Heyman to the ground, which led to CM Punk running in and CM Punk and Roman Reigns going at it. But at the end of the day, it was Seth Rollins standing above everybody. How'd you feel about this?
So before I jump into that, I want to touch on the fact that this Raw just sort of felt like it was like turning its wheels in place. I did feel that way. In fact, when I finished my stream and Raw ended, I'm like, this might be our shortest episode of our show, because really the biggest thing to talk about is what happened here at the end of the show. But it might not even be like the biggest thing. It might also be like the only thing that's kind of worth talking about, because everything else was just sort of in what I tend to call triple threat stands, where like they don't want to overextend themselves because the feud's already set, right? They don't want to get injured, so they're not going to go overboard with anything physical. This happens a lot before WrestleManias and before PLEs in general, but to me, this triple threat still needed a little bit more, and I do feel like they did what they needed to do to truly hit on the head that this is the main event of night one. I thought that Seth Rollins' gaslighting was absolutely brilliant, like genius levels of brilliant, to continue to sow doubt between Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns. It got to the point, like as you said, Roman shoving Paul Heyman, which is just something that we haven't seen in a really long time since the feud against Brock Lesnar, which was also a feud that had Paul Heyman divided between two Paul Heyman guys. So it's not the first time that Roman Reigns has actually been down this rodeo. But I really love what Paul Heyman said. What Seth Rollins said about Paul Heyman, that favors, you just have to choose to do them. And Paul, for some reason, for one reason or another, is choosing to do this favor for CM Punk at your expense. And to me, that line itself and what the line meant and the implications of that, to me, were brilliant.
I think that that was the biggest thing that they did right today, was making Seth Rollins feel a little bit more important. I think they've done so in the last 2 weeks, because I was out here saying like, Seth Rollins feels like the third wheel. He feels like the third wheel. And this time I'm like, okay, you know what? I get it. Like, I'm still, of course, more interested in Roman and CM Punk. But regardless, I thought they did a good job last week and this week of making Seth Rollins feel more important to the story, where suddenly he's just got a little bit more to say than he did before. So I thought that was really good. But the one thing that I don't like is Roman Reigns is not stupid, Santi. Like, he's not stupid. Roman Reigns is a really smart guy. And it takes 2 seconds to realize that what Paul Heyman did was him just trying to keep his word and being a man of his word and saying, hey, you did me a favor. You did us a solid. You helped us at War Games. So I'm going to, do this favor for you. This has been going on for months. So for me, I feel like Roman Reigns is smarter than that. I think Roman Reigns is smarter than for Seth Rollins to try to gaslight him, for anybody to try to gaslight him. I think Roman, even though he's hurt that Paul Heyman went with CM Punk, and I know that hurts him, but it's like, come on, you're smarter than that. You know he's just being a man of his word. And at the end of the day, don't you want someone who is as good as what they say that they're going to be and the promises that they make?
I guess, but I also appreciated what Roman said. Like, in what world do favors mean that someone else has to pay them? Like, why am I the only one that is coming out with the short end of the stick because of this favor that you owe? So I can see Roman's egoism coming out, but I get where he's coming from. I do understand that he didn't promise this to CM Punk, and now because you made this promise to CM Punk, I have to go out there without my wise man. I get it. It would make sense for somebody like a Roman Reigns to feel entitled in that way. And I did find this interesting, that this was kind of a heel Roman promo when you really dissect it as well.
It feels like he's been doing a lot more of that. I think I started noticing that, when was it? Whenever they did the last segment on SmackDown with all three guys, that's when it started to feel like we were seeing more of a heelish Roman Reigns. And I'm good with that, though. That's what I kind of want. I want to see heel Roman Reigns. And my favorite part of all of this, I had two favorite parts. One was when Roman Reigns called it a dumbass favor. I thought that was great. That was hilarious. And secondly, I loved the beginning of it when they were backstage and Paul Heyman got caught with CM Punk, and CM Punk has his arm around him.
Classic middle school catching your buddy with your girl. Like,
yes. Oh. Exactly that. I thought that was really good, but I think now I'm sort of just I'm excited. I really, really am excited. I think they did a really good job. I'm gonna go. Right now I can't help it, but I think the build to this triple threat match has been better than John Cena, Cody Rhodes.
It has. The build up to John Cena, like it's depended too much on Cena, right? Because the entire reason for this match existing and the feud existing is Cena. And since Cena isn't there anymore, it's kind of impossible to really push the narrative forward, right? Because this match and feud between Cody and Cena is about Cena turning heel. Why did he turn heel? Why did he attack Cody Rhodes the way that he did? Why did he align himself with The Rock? Why does he want to retire with the title and take it away from the fans? It's all about Cena. So when Cena's not there, then you're kind of just asking Cody Rhodes to pick up the pieces of a feud that he isn't even the driving force in. So it makes it kind of difficult for that feud to really fully get going unless both guys are there. Meanwhile, the nice thing about this particular feud is that you can keep it going with two of the three guys.
Yes, exactly that. And even if all the three guys are, the other day, it was just Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman for the most of it. Dude's not even in the match, but I mean, he's such a big part of he is the story really at this point. But yeah, it is one of those things where I can't help it. I feel like the triple threat has just had a better build. And like I said, I think once we get whatever we get coming out of this week's SmackDown, maybe I'll feel differently. But right now, it's completely been the hot seller for me. With that being said, we got a couple of super chats. Let's see what the people are saying. We got Nathan and John here who says Seth is joining John last week when Seth was coming. Oh, I did read this. I'm sorry, Nathan. We're actually with Hassan Batla here who says, can we all agree Karrion Kross needs a hella push? All right, so we got Karrion Kross today, by the way, in his first match since December of last year. The last time we saw him wrestle on the match on Raw was that 8-way that they did with the Final Testament and the Wyatt Six. And we got Karrion Kross versus AJ Styles today. And all I want to say is this. AJ Styles, bro, was hella bumping. I mean, AJ Styles is known for this, but hella bumping for Karrion Kross.
Seems like you don't want to give Karrion any props here, though. It sounds like you're
like, hey,
no, I can read right through fake fucking compliments. All right, I can read right through it. All right,
it's AJ Styles. He's the phenomenal one.
Yeah, there it is. Just let it out.
AJ Styles would make me and you look like freaking Roman Reigns in the ring with him.
There it is. Now it really comes out. Yeah, I gave him his flowers. No, you didn't. It was a backhanded compliment at best.
No, it wasn't.
Oh my God. It takes two to tango, and you only gave compliments to one of the tango dancers.
It's AJ Styles, Santi. If it was anybody else, then I would have been like, shit, all right, cool. It's AJ. He did a hell of a job in there helping make Karrion Kross look good.
You can't even pretend. That's the funny part. You can't even successfully pretend to give a shit about Karrion.
I will say this. I think that my favorite part was when he did not the possum thing. That I don't care about. My favorite part was the little dance that he did afterwards. I laughed.
Oh, the little shimmy.
He got a chuckle. He got a chuckle out of me for that.
A full-blown chuckle out of you.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. Full blown. What'd you think of it?
I thought the match was fine. Like, listen, like Karrion Kross is never going to wow me with his matches. He never did in NXT, and he hasn't on the main roster. I mostly just like root for him because you root against him, and I just think that's hilarious.
I'm not rooting against him. No, there's the
Denise, your biggest compliment of him is that you liked his shimmy. That you liked his shimmy. That
But it
is
was
the
a
only
good
compliment
shimmy.
you've given to him.
You got to throw the leg in, Santi. He threw in a little leg.
I thought the match was like fine. The post
Wait, I
segment
give
with
your shimmy a 0.
well,
That
all
was
right.
the worst shimmy I've ever seen.
All right, okay. I didn't know that we were comparing shimmies now. I didn't bring my A game. That was just a complimentary shimmy. It's not my best shimmy.
Karrion Kross has a better shimmy than Santi. There you go.
Is that the biggest compliment you're going to give him tonight?
That's a compliment right there. Right there.
Okay.
You know what? I do have another compliment. You know what I was thinking about during this?
What?
I liked Karrion Kross bald better.
Oh my God, Denise, that's like praising somebody for being the principal of a homeschool. It's absolutely just nothing to, that's not a compliment.
Yes, it is.
I liked you bald more? How?
Okay. No one ever says that. Usually people, if they have the option of putting someone over with hair or without hair, usually the person with hair gets put over more.
But you're not pulling, you're not putting him over because he has hair. He has hair. You're complimenting hypothetical Karrion Kross from like 5 years ago. He has hair.
But that's what I'm saying though. Who honestly looks better bald than they did with hair?
It's not a compliment still.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
It's totally a compliment because people are always shitting on bald guys. But I'm like, yo, he actually looks good with the bald head. I prefer the bald head. That's a compliment.
That's not a compliment. This is
yes,
I'm dying on this hill.
If someone looks good bald, that is a compliment.
Okay. Denise, I think you would look great bald.
Thank you. See, a compliment. You take it and you own it. Oh man, we got Bob.
No, but what if I say I think you would look better bald? How would you take that now? You see what I mean? Yeah, that's what I thought. Let's move on.
But here's the thing though. I'm not a pro wrestler trying to look menacing. If I was trying to be a scary, for example, okay, let me tell you something. One time I interviewed Joe Hendry, right? And he said to me that he decided to change his entire look up because he would see himself like how he originally looked, and he saw himself and he thought to himself, you know what? I look boring. He thought to himself, I don't look like somebody that I would want to play in a video game or buy his action figure. So what did he do? He changed his look up so that he could look a certain way, right? Because when you're a pro wrestler, you want to look a certain way. And so I just think that Karrion Kross looks scarier and looks meaner and looks tougher with the bald head.
I know. All I'm saying is that you cannot say it's a compliment when he currently doesn't have a bald head. You're saying he looks bad right now is what I'm saying. You're saying he looks worse at the moment than he would otherwise.
No, I'm just saying.
All I'm saying is I'm dying on the hill that this is not a compliment.
He would look tougher with the bald head. I
would hate to receive compliments from you. If you were like, okay, I have to give Santi compliments, I don't want them. Keep them. Keep them.
Fine. No compliments. All right, we got Bob Ross Jr. who says, on everyone's soul, we are hearing Becky Lynch theme after Tiffany Stratton retains on Saturday. I don't know. That's an interesting one, Santi. I don't know if you saw this, but she did a stand-up comedy show. And in that stand-up comedy show, she just basically mentioned, oh, I'm not wrestling anymore. Maybe I will one day, but not right now.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting Becky to say that.
I didn't think that she would mention like this. To me makes me wonder, maybe not even Raw after Mania. I don't know.
It's weird because here's the thing. She does have a lot of projects that she's working on. She's doing a lot of stuff outside of, pro wrestling. She's doing like movie roles and things like that. I forget what the details are, but I did see something about that. She's a mom and she's probably going to want to obviously spend time with her child. And she's clearly doing other things like improv. I don't know. It seems like Becky Lynch is kind of getting a taste of what other things she can do without having to go out there and put her body on the line and whatnot, and still reap those same rewards of all of the work that she put in of building the name of Becky Lynch. And now she's reaping those rewards of what it is to be Becky Lynch.
Perhaps. I would have loved to have her in a match at WrestleMania. I really would have. Especially like the women's mid-card could have really benefited from a Becky Lynch. I hope she returns. I really do hope she returns because there's so many awesome potential matches for a Becky Lynch. in today's landscape of wrestling.
Right. That's exactly how I feel. We got Nathan and John who says Karrion Kross looks badass, not gonna lie. But he'd even look more badass with a bald head. All right, we got Gabriel Zalazar here who says, which non-main event match y'all looking forward to? Me is Ray versus Chad. I mean El Grande Americano, giving Rock Hogan vibes. You're wild and Gabriel. For me, so on the men's side, I'm looking forward to Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. On the women's side, Naomi and Jade.
For me, I would say that I'm looking forward to the women's triple threat the most. That's what I'll go with. The women's triple threat.
Yeah, that's going to be good. That's going to be really good. Thank you, Gabriel. We got Sucho here who says, happy WrestleMania week to both of you. The weekend can't get here any faster. Simple question here tonight, but who do you think will be in the prime bottle this year? Chelsea Green, Chad Gable. I don't know. I'm just trying to name people that are.
I'm saying Mr. Beast. I'm saying Mr. Beast because
like an actual famous person, like
yeah,
from outside of WWE celebrity.
Yeah, because we've had KSI, we've had I Show Speed last year. Both obviously KSI and Logan worked together for Prime. I Show Speed was a Prime affiliate or somebody that was signed to Prime. And now this year, the big partnership that Logan has is with Feastables and Mr. Beast's chocolate bar to make those little Lunchable kits. Have you seen those?
No, I haven't seen them.
They've got like this Lunchable ripoff called Lunchly, and it's a collaboration between KSI, Logan Paul, and Mr. Beast. So I'm guessing it's Mr. Beast.
Oh wow, that would be huge.
I hate that I know that much about the world of influencer food materials.
Yeah, I feel kind of bad because I don't really know anything about it. So to be honest, I learned a lot from you right now. See, look, there's a compliment. See, not a bad compliment, good compliment.
No, you know what your definition, like what would have been a Denise compliment there is I would learn so much from you if you were smarter.
No,
that would be a Denise compliment. That would be a Denise compliment.
I would never say that. I would never say that.
Yeah, but like if you were smarter, oh my God, it's a compliment.
I would learn so much more from you if your IQ was higher. That is so savage. Sucho, thank you so much for the super chat and thank you for the question. It's a really good question, to be honest. We got Nathan and John here who says, I say this with all due respect, War Raiders suck. I like the War Raiders, but I just think that the people don't care about them though. Like,
you know what my chat's calling them?
What?
The Snore Raiders. They're putting people to sleep and I feel bad. It's not their fault. It's just WWE hasn't really been helping them with storytelling or feuds or anything. It's not their fault.
They're good wrestlers, but that's it. They just have them come out and do the and that's it. That's all we got. Unfortunate. We got Dave Koss here who says WWE has done an incredible job of developing baby faces, but they have a heel issue. Outside of Drew, Gunther, Cena, who are the next few main event male heels, need Seth to turn fully at WrestleMania. I've been waiting for Seth Rollins to turn heel for a long time, but look, I'm going to be real with you. I feel like the names that you named are pretty damn strong, specifically with Drew McIntyre. I think Drew McIntyre out of those is doing the best when it comes to the heel work. John Cena, if we saw him a lot more, it'd be great. Gunther cut a really damn good promo today. I might as well mention that right now. He just kind of went off and basically said that, he never loses control and that he plans on losing control, or that if he does lose control, when he did, people are saying he lost control when he beat up Jimmy and did what he did to Jimmy, but he said he did not lose control. And then he's going to do the exact same thing to Jay. And my favorite part about this was when he said he was going to call his own mother afterwards and chat about it. Like, all I want to do now is meet Mama Gunther. That is it. I want to see what she's like.
Yeah, that was what I thought was a fantastic promo. The last 2 and a bit weeks of this feud, it's like, man, why couldn't have been at least half this good in the first several weeks so that we weren't clowning on this feud as much as we were? Because now it's good. Now I'm in. I love what Gunther was saying about yeah, I love bathing in your brother's blood. And now at Mania, I'm going to bathe in yours. And then I'm going to have a nice little nighttime conversation with my mom to brag about it. I thought it was awesome.
I need to meet his mom. That's what I got from this. But yeah, I do see what you're saying, Dave. And I'm always in the, I'm always in the mood for more baby faces, more heels on both sides for sure, instead of just people that are kind of just floating around. We got Sucho here who says, feel like we should have done a fatal four-way for the Intercontinental title between Lyra, Bayley, Liv, and Roxanne, and not a tag title match. Shaking my head. So we did get to see Roxanne Perez over on the SmackDown side last week when she faced Tiffany Stratton. That was great. Dude, this is one where, I mean, God, I was still saying, why don't we get Bayley and Roxanne? Clearly that ship has sailed. Today we saw Bayley and Liv, and I thought they had a dang fine match. I would have loved to see that match at WrestleMania.
I will continue to bang on the drum of Liv versus Lyra versus Bayley at WrestleMania would have been the match to do.
Yeah, dude. I think that they kind of missed the boat on that for sure. Thank you, Sucho. We got JM here who says Paul will help Seth. Seth wins because Paul is fed up with Roman, and Punk is tired of both of them fighting over him, but Paul won't be Seth's wise man. I'd rather see Paul Heyman just walk out on his own. But I don't know, man. I don't know. A lot of people keep throwing this idea out there of Seth and Paul Heyman, but I'm still not really on board with that. But I see what you're saying though here, JM, where like Paul inadvertently maybe helps out Seth Rollins. Maybe he doesn't intend to help him out and then accidentally does. That could be a scenario that plays out. We'll see if that happens. Thank you so much, JM. We got Nathan and John here who says, hear me out, Lyra versus Bayley for WrestleMania women's tag title ladder match. This makes more sense than Bayley and Lyra versus Liv and Raquel. I mean, I don't know
whatever,
what to say.
sure.
We're on board. Let's see. We got Sin City Saint who says, do you guys think Braun was hurt or just good selling? Looked like he tweaked his knee on the Penta dive. Ref was checking on him. I didn't even catch that, Sin City Saint. Did you catch that, Santi?
I didn't catch it. My chat did, but I didn't see it.
Yeah, no, I didn't catch that. So hopefully not, because we were just talking about how they tend to go a little easier on the shows right before WrestleMania and the PLE so that you indeed avoid situations like this. So hopefully that's not the case. Thank you, Sin City Saint. We got Stephen Marchuli who says, I think Roman Paul turned heel night 1. Seth third man, night 2 cost Cody. No, I don't think anybody should be getting involved at all in that Cody John Cena fiasco. Like, let Cody lose on his own. If anybody gets involved, it's probably going to be The Rock.
I would agree.
Right. Thank you, Steven. We got McTaro here who says Killer Kross is better than Karrion Kross. End of story, Santi.
No one was debating that. I was debating that Denise was trying to sweep under the rug that she believes that was a compliment.
It is. I'm sure someone here agrees with me. All right, we got Oscar Lara. Thank you so much, Oscar. He says El Grande Americano looks great with hair, but would look better bald. We can't even see El Grande Americano's hair.
See what you've created.
And now we need to get a bunch of pictures of you bald, Santi. Have you ever been bald?
Oh, I've been buzzed, like buzzhead,
like
but
Randy
not like.
Orton?
Yeah, but I've not been like put a razor to my head bald.
You never been a la Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Yeah, never been like that, no.
Here we got Dave Costier who says, happy you said that, Denise. In terms of linear and logical storytelling, I feel Priest and Drew and Naomi and Jade are the best told stories in the build. Yeah, I know a lot of people weren't too high on Priest and Drew, but they've delivered on what they've done. Honestly, it's been simple, but it's been effective. Thank you, Dave.
I agree.
We got Sin City Saint here who says Kaiser is the best heel in WWE. Fight me. I like Ludwig Kaiser, but they have him going out there doing the same thing every week, though.
Some people thought that he was going to get an open challenge with how things were going, but we didn't even see him on this episode of Raw, so it's not likely.
No, I'm surprised he's not. I thought by now he would be in a bigger story heading into WrestleMania, and it seemed like that for a while, but then I guess they just dropped off, so we'll see.
I could see him if they do have him do an open challenge. Maybe that's where you bring back Rusev or not Aleister Black. It looks like Aleister Black is set for April 25th based on like the vignettes, but maybe Rusev answers. Who knows?
Maybe. Yeah, that would be kind of enjoyable. Thank you so much, Sin City Saint. All right, let's see where we're at. What haven't we discussed? Rey Mysterio defeated Julius Creed in a fine matchup here. I like stuff like this when you get when you get Brutus or Julius in action, because there are some of my favorites. I did enjoy what we saw here. There was a moment where Julius caught Rey Mysterio when he did his baseball slide. I thought that was kind of fun. There was also a bit where he had him like in a vertical suplex and he was just like walking with him. I thought that was pretty cool. So there were some cool moments there. And of course, Rey Mysterio gets the win here heading into this match with El Grande Americano. I was expecting for the aftermath, I was expecting them to kind of make way that there was going to be like a mask versus mask. I don't know if just the fact that they're teasing that not teasing, but that he's used that little whatever he's been putting inside his mask, the metal piece.
Little metal play, yeah.
Right. I was assuming that would be the tease heading into a mask versus mask.
Wouldn't you think that mask versus mask would kind of spoil the match? Like, you're not going to have one of those legends like that be unmasked like that, right? Like, there's one legend there that wouldn't be unmasked, obviously.
Right.
And that would be El Grande Americano. It would be
get out of here.
It would be kind of spoiling that El Grande Americano is going to win because they're not going to have him be unmasked. So I feel like it would be a little bit too telegraphed if they were to do mask versus mask that El Grande is going to win. So I hope they don't do that personally.
See, I want them to do the mask versus mask because all I want is for there to be like this anticipation of the great reveal of who the Grande Americano is. But that's why I was thinking it.
I don't know. I just think it sometimes WWE is predictable. They're not going to have the legend get unmasked like that. It's just not going to happen.
All right. Let me see what else we got that we haven't discussed here. Jey Uso. I mean, he goes out there, he does his thing. Dang. He basically just went out there, stood in front of the announcement table, and he just basically talked about being locked in on this match in Gunther. Really nothing too much to say about this. Yeah. I'm like,
I literally have nothing on it. I'm like, great. He yeeted less, but then he came out not yeeting, and I'm like, that looks kind of cool. Him like kind of mean mugging in the stand while people around him yeeting, but he's not yeeting back. I'm like, that's kind of sick. All right. I kind of vibe with that. And then he's out there all mean mugging. I'm like, okay, I'm kind of digging this. And then he does all right, start my music again. I'm like, God damn it, we're back at this again.
Yeah, because he did it last week too. Because I mean, after the Jimmy attack, you can't come out and be all happy.
Yeah, look, it was the start of this feud with him going out and like, hey, my music again. That was getting people frustrated with him.
Yeah.
I hate that he went back to it.
I just think they can't help themselves because the crowd gets so into it and I'm sure they have fun. And yeah, that's pretty much it on that. Finn Balor defeated Penta. That was another bit that we got here on the show. A decent match. I don't know that it was my favorite Penta match, but it was decent. I think at this point in the show, though, I was kind of feeling a little bit exhausted and I was ready to get to the main event segment. That's kind of what I was thinking about during this.
Yeah, here's the thing. I lost interest in the match once Carlito went out there because I was just like, I'm just here to see Carlito get speared again. I was just waiting for that to happen again. So I knew there was going to be a fun little spear moment, and we got like a cool double spear.
It wasn't nowhere near as cool as last week. So I was like, okay, yeah, double spear. All right.
They tried, but yeah, it was an all right match. Nothing crazy, like you said. Pretty safe stuff as we go into WrestleMania, which I'm not surprised ultimately.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about that too. Alrighty, I think we pretty much covered everything on Monday Night Raw. Like we said, it wasn't a show full of fireworks.
We spent more time debating the bald Karrion Kross thing, by the way, than we did every other segment outside of the triple threat main event stuff.
I feel like I should put a poll. Do you like Karrion Kross more bald or with hair?
Well, everyone's gonna say bald because I agree. That's not no, you're changing the question. You're gaslighting this community. That is
Wait,
not.
How did I change the question? I didn't
because
change
that's
the
not
question.
what the argument was about. That is not what the argument was about.
Okay, what was your argument was that my thing wasn't a compliment.
Yes.
But you're agreeing that I'm right though.
Correct, but that's not a compliment.
But it's still something, but I'm right.
You're complimenting somebody for features they no longer have. That is not what a compliment is.
Okay, fine. But the point still stands, though. I'm right. Karrion Kross looks better bald. So technically...
You're moving the goalpost. That is not what the argument was about. And you know it. You are acting in bad faith right now.
I'm right now. I'm right. bald head, superior.
All right, let's wrap this up.
We got Julius Calloway here who says, I don't support either, but Santi, Denise, please pick one or else. Cena Dom won't win gold at Mania. Gable is El Grande Americano, or she shouldn't be at Mania. Okay.
I have no idea what you want here, bro.
I was hoping you knew.
Thanks for the super chat, brother. I have no idea what you want.
I'm guessing the question. Please pick one or else. Cena Dom won't win gold at Mania. Gable is Grande Americano. He shouldn't be at Mania. Okay, I think Cena's winning gold. Dom's, I don't think is winning gold. He might, though. And El Grande Americano. And you know what? Chad Gable should not be at WrestleMania. There. I think I answered the question.
I don't know. I don't know what the hell the question was.
Julius, thank you so much for the super chat. We got well-rounded Leo who says, I'm confused based on action. Isn't Roman basically a heel? Are you only of a face if a fans cheer for you no matter what you do? No, you are a heel based off of your actions. You are a baby face based off of your actions. So Roman was a babyface, right? When he came back to SummerSlam, he was a babyface. He never had a heel turn since then. He has just been Roman Reigns with traits of the heel Roman Reigns. But technically, now that he shoved Paul Heyman, that could be considered a heel thing. Therefore, I don't see it as a heel turn. It might actually be, though.
Mayhaps. I don't know.
We got Bob Ross Jr. who says, I have initiated an investigation to identify the leader of Dark State with Santi, Julia, and Ava emerging as potential suspects. I think you'd fit in well in Dark State, Santi.
My community thinks it's Stacks, by the way.
I've been seeing some couple people say that.
Which I think would just be the most bleh reveal ever if it ends up being Stacks.
Yeah, but hey, they got to build up somebody, right? By the way, you didn't get my backhanded compliment that I gave you. I said you look like you'd fit in well with Dark State.
Oh, thanks.
That was the backhanded compliment.
Thank you. Yeah. No, because I look better with a mask. You know, when you hide your face from the public, you look so much better.
Cyclops is better than Wolverine says, don't let Denise gas you like Seth, bro. I'm not, I swear. Thank you, Cyclops. Alrighty, I think we got it all, everyone. Thank you so much. Santi, tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me at all things Santi Zap, whether it's YouTube, Twitch, Patreon, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it might be. Google it, pick your poison.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much. YouTube.com/Denise Salcedo. Been posting on my daily stuff. I will be at WrestleMania in Las Vegas this Wednesday. So keep an eye out. I'll be posting a lot of different stuff on the ground. So yeah, if you guys want to be updated on everything WrestleMania, I will be doing so on social media and on YouTube. Thank you guys so much, and we'll catch you here next Monday. Bye, everyone. Take care.